Emily Hartman was a woman captivated by the natural world. At 26 years old, she had already earned a reputation among her peers as an adventurer and budding photographer, often sharing images of her treks through the American wilderness. She had a particular fondness for the alpine landscapes of Utah. The jagged peaks, glistening streams, and lush valleys called to her, offering solace and inspiration. This passion culminated in her most recent excursion to Horseshoe Falls, a pristine yet treacherous site nestled in the Wasatch Range. It was late October, the golden hues of autumn fading to the grays of an encroaching winter. Emily had planned her trip with meticulous care, packing her DSLR camera, sturdy hiking boots, and provisions for her faithful companion, Baxter. She departed from her small home in Provo. Baxter, a loyal golden retriever, was more than a pet. He was her shadow, her protector, and her greatest confidant. Arriving at the trailhead, Emily parked her car and set out just as the morning light stretched over the horizon. She documented her journey, snapping photos of towering pines, cascading water, and the play of sunlight on fallen leaves. Each click of the shutter was a testament to her adoration for nature's beauty. The terrain became increasingly rugged as she neared the falls. Horseshoe Falls, while breathtaking, was infamous for its danger. Fed by recent rains, the river surged with unusual ferocity. The muddy ground near the edges of the stream was slick, and the roar of the water masked the warning sounds of instability. Nevertheless, Emily pressed forward, eager to frame the perfect shot of the rushing water framed by the craggy cliffs above. Baxter, ever watchful, began to grow uneasy. He barked, his golden coat bristling as Emily inched closer to the riverbank. She reassured him with a quick pat on the head before setting her camera on a tripod. It was a fleeting moment of calm followed by catastrophe. The bank beneath her feet gave way, sending her tumbling into the churning water below. Baxter barked frantically, pacing and pawing at the muddy ground. His golden fur became matted with dirt as he attempted to trace her path downstream. Emily's belongings, scattered in the chaos, lay abandoned on the riverbank, her jacket, her phone, and a torn map fluttering in the breeze. The tranquility of the alpine setting was shattered. As the sun began its descent behind the jagged peaks, two hikers emerged from the forested trail. Mark Taylor and Sophia Ramirez were weekend adventurers who had taken the day to explore the scenic area. They heard Baxter's distressed howls echoing through the valley. Drawn by the sound, they stumbled upon the golden retriever, his barking now hoarse but persistent. It didn't take long for them to notice the items scattered near the riverbank. The jacket caught Sophia's eye, first bright red, contrasting starkly with the muted earth tones of the forest floor. Nearby, a smartphone lay half buried in mud. Alarmed, the pair searched the immediate area for signs of its owner, but found nothing except a set of footprints leading to the river's edge and then abruptly ending. Mark, realizing the gravity of the situation, dialed 911. Within minutes, the Utah County Sheriff's Office dispatched a team to the remote location. Among those assigned to the case was Detective Logan Wilkes, a seasoned investigator with over a decade of experience. Known for his calm demeanor and methodical approach, Wilkes had handled his share of tragic accidents in the wilderness, though none quite like this. The search and rescue team arrived as twilight cloaked the valley. Using flashlights, they scoured the riverbank while Baxter remained by the scattered belongings, his loyalty unwavering. The dog's presence struck an emotional chord with the team, intensifying their resolve to uncover what had happened. Detective Wilkes took inventory of the scene. The camera, still attached to its tripod, remained intact, but offered no immediate clues. The phone, however, revealed its potential as the linchpin of the investigation. Careful not to damage it further, Wilkes secured the device for analysis. The rescue team extended their search into the night, focusing on the river where Emily had likely been swept away. The freezing temperatures and turbulent water complicated their efforts. By the time midnight struck, they were forced to pause, vowing to resume at first light. As the team regrouped, Wilkes found himself drawn to the loyal figure of Baxter, who lay curled beside Emily's jacket. The dog's presence was both a comfort and a stark reminder of the urgency to uncover her fate. The morning sun rose over the Wasatch Range, casting pale light on the rugged terrain where the search for Emily Hartman continued. A growing team of search and rescue personnel, equipped with drones, thermal imaging cameras, and kayaks, prepared to comb the river and its surrounding wilderness. Detective Logan Wilkes briefed the team, emphasizing the importance of treating the area as both a search site and a potential scene of an accident. Baxter was temporarily taken into the care of Sophia Ramirez and Mark Taylor, who had discovered him the previous evening. Despite being shaken by the circumstances, the golden retriever remained restless, whining and pacing as if urging them to hurry. Sophia suggested that Baxter might be useful in the search effort, and after consulting with Wilkes, the team agreed to let him guide them along the riverbank. The river's current was unusually strong, fed by recent storms and melting snow from the mountains. The roar of the water was deafening, and the banks were littered with debris, broken branches, scattered rocks, and patches of mud that told a silent story of violence. The air carried a sharp chill, a reminder that time was running out for anyone who might have survived such an ordeal. Wilkes coordinated with his team to systematically divide the search area into grids. Volunteers, park rangers, and local hikers joined the effort, their faces etched with concern as they moved through dense underbrush and precarious paths. The terrain grew more challenging with every step, but the resolve to find Emily remained steadfast. It was just past mid-morning when the first breakthrough occurred. A member of the search team spotted a piece of torn fabric snagged on a rock protruding from the river. The bright red color matched the jacket Emily had been wearing. It was a small but significant clue, narrowing the search to a specific stretch of the river. As the team pressed forward, Baxter began barking insistently, pulling toward a cluster of rocks near a small eddy downstream. The searchers followed his lead, hearts heavy with anticipation. What they found confirmed their worst fears. Emily's body lay partially submerged in the frigid water, caught between two rocks. Her once vibrant face was pale, her features softened by the merciless flow of the river. Despite the tragic outcome, there was relief in finally finding her, bringing an end to the agonizing uncertainty. Detective Wilkes approached the scene with solemnity, ensuring that the recovery was handled with care and respect. The search and rescue team worked meticulously to retrieve Emily's body, preserving any potential evidence that might provide additional insight into her final moments. Her camera, which had been strapped securely around her neck, was still intact, a waterproof model that had miraculously survived the ordeal. As the team carefully examined her belongings, Wilkes noticed a peculiar detail. Emily's phone, retrieved the previous evening, had been recording during the accident. While it confirmed the initial assumption of a tragic fall, it also raised new questions. Why had Emily been filming? Was she documenting the scenery, or had she captured something that led her to approach the treacherous edge? The discovery of Emily's body marked the beginning of a new phase in the investigation. For Wilkes, the challenge was no longer just about understanding what had happened. It was about honoring the life that had been lost and learning from the tragedy to prevent future accidents. The mountains, silent and indifferent, loomed over the search site as the team prepared to transport Emily's body back to the trailhead. Baxter, his faithful vigil finally over, let out a mournful howl that echoed through the valley. For the rescuers, it was a sound that encapsulated the heartbreak of the day, a reminder of the fragility of life against the unforgiving power of nature. The investigation, however, was far from over. The recovery of Emily Hartman's body brought a somber closure to the immediate search, but it also deepened the sense of mystery surrounding her final moments. Back at the Utah County Sheriff's Office, Detective Logan Wilkes turned his attention to the evidence collected at the scene. Emily's phone, recovered intact, became the centerpiece of his investigation. The phone's video, preserved despite the fall into the river, was as haunting as it was revealing. The recording began with a sweeping panorama of the breathtaking Horseshoe Falls. Emily's voice could be heard narrating, her tone bright and enthusiastic. The footage showed Baxter sitting dutifully nearby, his tail wagging as he looked up at his owner. Then, the camera panned to the river, the raging water forming a mesmerizing yet perilous backdrop. In the final moments of the video, Emily adjusted the camera to focus on a specific angle of the falls. Her voice faltered slightly as she stepped closer to the edge. The camera jostled violently as she slipped, capturing a fleeting blur of sky and trees before the screen went dark. The chilling sound of rushing water and a single, sharp gasp were all that remained. Detective Wilkes replayed the video multiple times, searching for anything unusual. One detail caught his attention. Emily had been fixated on something in the water just before her fall. Pausing the video at the crucial moment, Wilkes noted what appeared to be a faint reflection of light in the river. Was it the sun catching on the rapids? Or something more tangible, perhaps debris or a discarded object? The possibility that she had been distracted by something or someone lingered in his mind. The camera, recovered from her body, also held its own trove of clues. Wilkes arranged to have the memory card analyzed by a forensic specialist. The photos revealed Emily's journey leading up to the accident, serene shots of the trail, Baxter posing beside a cluster of wildflowers, and a striking image of the falls taken moments before her fatal slip. Yet nothing appeared out of place or hinted at foul play. The initial autopsy report confirmed what Wilkes had suspected. Emily's cause of death was consistent with blunt force trauma from being battered by rocks in the river. Hypothermia had likely set in quickly, further sealing her fate. Toxicology tests revealed no substances in her system, ruling out the possibility of impairment. Meanwhile, Emily's family, still reeling from the tragedy, began to share details about her love for the outdoors. Her sister, Laura Hartman, described Emily as both cautious and well-prepared. She wasn't reckless, Laura insisted. She knew how to respect nature, but she always sought the perfect shot, that one photo no one else could get. Wilkes considered this insight carefully. Emily's pursuit of capturing nature's beauty had likely driven her to take risks she might not have otherwise. Yet, there was no denying the role of the unpredictable environment. Horseshoe Falls, with its deceptive charm, had claimed its share of victims over the years. In response to this latest incident, the Utah County Parks Department began installing additional warning signs near the falls and discussing plans to reinforce railings along the most dangerous sections of the trail. Still, questions nagged at Wilkes. Could Emily's death truly be written off as a tragic accident, or was there more to the story than met the eye? The faint reflection captured in the video lingered in his mind, a puzzle piece without a clear fit. Compelled by these doubts, he returned to the trail where it had all happened. Accompanied by Baxter, who had been temporarily placed in the care of Emily's parents, Wilkes retraced her steps. The dog seemed to recognize the area immediately, pulling toward the riverbank with renewed urgency. Wilkes allowed Baxter to guide him, watching as the dog sniffed along the trail before stopping abruptly at the edge of the water. There, amid the mud and debris, Wilkes noticed something he hadn't seen before, a fragment of shiny metal partially buried in the earth. Using gloves, he carefully unearthed the object. It was small, circular, and clearly man-made. A closer inspection revealed it to be a piece of a broken lens, likely from a camera or binoculars. It didn't match the make or model of Emily's equipment, raising new questions. Had someone else been near the falls that day? If so, why hadn't they come forward? This discovery reignited Wilkes's curiosity. While the case officially remained classified as an accident, the presence of another individual, potentially a witness, could provide valuable context. The unforgiving environment of Horseshoe Falls might have taken Emily's life, but human factors could still have played a role. Detective Logan Wilkes wasted no time analyzing the metallic fragment found near the riverbank. The piece was sent to the forensics lab, where technicians identified it as part of a high-end pair of binoculars. The brand, a niche manufacturer known for outdoor equipment, was uncommon, narrowing the pool of potential owners. Wilkes now had to consider the possibility that someone else had been at the falls when Emily Hartman fell, a person who had remained silent throughout the search and investigation. Wilkes issued a public appeal for information, specifically targeting local hiking communities and social media groups frequented by nature enthusiasts. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Tips flooded in, though most were dead ends. Then, a promising lead surfaced. A fellow hiker named Richard Fenton recalled seeing someone near the falls on the day of Emily's accident. Fenton had been descending the trail late that afternoon when he passed a man in his mid-30s carrying a camera bag and binoculars. The man had seemed hurried and avoided eye contact. At the time, I didn't think much of it, Fenton explained over the phone. But now that you're asking about binoculars, it might have been him. Fenton's account corroborated Wilkes's theory, but it raised additional questions. Why had this man not come forward? Was his presence near the falls coincidental? Or had he witnessed or even caused Emily's fall? Wilkes began tracing equipment sales records for the brand of binoculars, cross-referencing local addresses with known hiking permits issued for Horseshoe Falls around the date of the incident. The breakthrough came from a store clerk at a high-end outdoor outfitter in Salt Lake City. The clerk recalled selling the binoculars to a man named Jeffrey Owens, a wildlife photographer who had recently moved to Utah. Owens frequently posted photos of remote locations on social media, including Horseshoe Falls. His profile revealed a pattern. He often hiked alone, capturing images of rare birds and elusive wildlife. His photos from the day of Emily's death, however, were conspicuously absent. Detective Wilkes obtained a warrant to interview Jeffrey Owens, whose home was located on the outskirts of Provo. Owens greeted Wilkes with polite indifference, claiming he had no knowledge of Emily Hartman or her accident. However, his demeanor shifted when Wilkes presented the fragment of binoculars found at the scene. "That's not mine," Owens said quickly, his voice tense. "I've never seen it before." Wilkes pressed further, questioning Owens about his whereabouts on the day of Emily's fall. Owens admitted to being at Horseshoe Falls, but only briefly. "I was photographing hawks," he explained. "I didn't see anyone else there." This statement directly contradicted Richard Fenton's account, which placed Owens on the trail in a rushed state around the time of the incident. Wilkes noted Owens's evasiveness and requested to see his photography equipment. Owens hesitated but eventually produced his camera, binoculars, and other gear. The binoculars were the same brand and model as the fragment recovered near the river, though intact. Forensic analysis later revealed something troubling. Owens's camera had recently been formatted, erasing all images. While this wasn't unusual for photographers looking to clear storage space, the timing raised suspicion. What had Owens been trying to hide? The next clue came from the memory card itself. Although Owens had wiped the device, specialized software allowed technicians to recover fragments of deleted images. Among the recovered photos was a blurry shot of Emily standing near the edge of the falls, taken from a distance. She appeared unaware of the camera's presence, focused on her own photography. The timestamp placed the photo mere minutes before her fall. Wilkes confronted Owens with the recovered image. "You were there," Wilkes said, his tone firm. "You saw her fall, didn't you?" Owens faltered, his calm facade crumbling. "It wasn't my fault," he stammered. I didn't push her. I swear." The sudden shift in Owens's demeanor confirmed Wilkes's suspicions. Owens had witnessed the tragedy, but his failure to report it raised troubling questions. Why had he chosen to remain silent? And what, if anything, had he done in those crucial moments after Emily disappeared into the river? Under mounting pressure, Jeffrey Owens confessed to being near Horseshoe Falls when Emily fell. He claimed to have been photographing birds when he noticed her standing dangerously close to the edge. "I tried to call out to her," he said, his voice trembling, "but she couldn't hear me over the water." Owens described watching in horror as the ground beneath Emily gave way. According to him, he had been too far away to intervene and panicked when she disappeared into the torrent, fearing that no one would believe his account, or worse, that he might be blamed for her death. He had fled the scene. "I didn't know what to do," he admitted. I thought maybe someone else would find her. Wilkes listened carefully, noting inconsistencies in Owens's story. Why had he deleted his photos? Why had he avoided coming forward for so long? While Owens's account aligned with the physical evidence of an accidental fall, his behavior suggested a deeper layer of guilt or fear. Wilkes concluded that while Owens's actions had been selfish and irresponsible, there was no evidence of foul play. The true cause of Emily's death was a tragic combination of natural forces and human error. However, Owens's failure to report the incident left a stain on his character and possibly his conscience. With the case closed, Detective Wilkes reflected on the complexity of human behavior in the face of tragedy. Emily Hartman's death was a stark reminder of nature's power and the fragile balance between beauty and danger. Her family, though devastated, found some solace in the resolution of the investigation. They chose to focus on Emily's legacy as a passionate advocate for nature, erecting a memorial stone along the trail where she had spent her final moments. Local authorities acted swiftly, implementing new safety measures at Horseshoe Falls, including reinforced railings and additional signage. Emily's story became a cautionary tale shared in hiking safety workshops and online forums, emphasizing the importance of vigilance in the wilderness. As for Jeffrey Owens, his reputation suffered irreparably. Though he faced no legal consequences, his name became synonymous with neglect and cowardice in the eyes of the public. He eventually left Utah, seeking anonymity in a different state. Baxter, Emily's loyal companion, remained with her family, offering comfort as they navigated their grief. In many ways, the golden retriever symbolized Emily's indomitable spirit, a reminder of her love for the untamed beauty of the world. For Detective Logan Wilkes, the case served as both a professional challenge and a personal lesson. We can never control nature, he later reflected, but we can control how we respond to it and to each other. Months passed, but the echoes of Emily Hartman's story lingered in the quiet trails of Horseshoe Falls and the hearts of those who followed her tale. For her family, the wound remained fresh, though softened by the community's outpouring of support. Hikers from across Utah visited the memorial stone placed near the falls, leaving flowers, notes, and tokens of remembrance. The image of Baxter etched into the stone became a beacon of loyalty and love, a small piece of Emily's life that lived on. The changes implemented at Horseshoe Falls were swift and effective. Metal railings now lined the most dangerous sections of the trail, and brightly colored warning signs cautioned hikers about unstable ground and swift currents. The Utah County Parks Department worked to balance safety with the area's natural beauty, ensuring that the tragedy served as a wake-up call rather than a deterrent to exploring the wilderness. Emily's death also sparked broader conversations about outdoor safety in local and national hiking forums. Photographers shared tips for capturing landscapes without compromising safety. Guides discussed best practices for adventuring near water. Emily's story, though tragic, became an enduring lesson about the unpredictable nature of the wild and the importance of preparation and caution. For Detective Logan Wilkes, the case remained etched in his mind long after it was officially closed. As someone who had spent much of his life navigating the aftermath of human suffering, he found Emily's story unique in its raw simplicity and stark inevitability. There was no villain in this tale, only a young woman chasing beauty, a distracted witness, and an indifferent natural world. Still, Owens's silence weighed on Wilkes. The wildlife photographer had fled Utah after the case concluded, but his actions or inaction continued to provoke debate. Some viewed him as a coward, others as a man caught in an impossible situation. Wilkes, however, saw Owens as a stark reminder of the ripple effect of fear and indecision. Emily Hartman's life became a symbol of both inspiration and caution. Her family organized an annual memorial hike in her honor, inviting friends, relatives, and nature enthusiasts to gather at Horseshoe Falls. The event was not only a tribute to Emily's passion for the outdoors, but also an opportunity to promote safety and respect for nature. The hike quickly grew into a community tradition. Each year, attendees shared stories about their own adventures, learning from one another and celebrating the beauty Emily had sought to capture. Her photography, compiled and curated by her sister Laura, was displayed at the trailhead during these gatherings. The vivid landscapes and intimate moments with Baxter reminded everyone of the joy Emily had found in the world around her.